Believe it or not, those wind speeds, at least right around the center of that eye, now down to 100 miles per hour, but still 100 miles per hour is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. These are still some very strong winds moving into that area, and now beginning to see, obviously we talked about this before, Florence's forward movement really beginning to slow down as it approaches those shallower waters as it gets closer to shore. Still a major storm, though. Still, you can see stretching pretty much the entire southern half and almost the entire length of the Carolinas from the Outer Banks all the way down towards Wilmington, and where he was at, just hanging out right there in Morehead City, looking at the brunt of the storm there. Now, we note always on the northern edge of the storm, the stronger winds because the movement is pushing this direction. Those winds are whipping around. We usually have some higher waves here, and that's exactly what we're showing you here. The wave heights, and these are some monstrous waves out in the Atlantic Ocean. 37-foot waves there as they move closer to the Outer Banks, the Nags Head area, 25, 27 feet there. You can also see that moving closer to Wilmington. Yeah, 10-foot waves right along shore, but as the center of that eye, you see that right there, moves closer and closer to making landfall tomorrow morning. We do expect to see those wave heights pick up quite a bit, but yeah, we've talked about that storm surge. John mentioned it just a few minutes ago, kind of streaming up through those smaller little tributaries in the creeks and on the back bays, going to be dealing with those issues. Now, as we continue through the next couple of hours, again, we expect to see that eye make landfall right around 8 o'clock tomorrow morning as a Category 2 hurricane. Now, wind speeds not expected to really decrease too much. They're right now at 105 miles per hour. Expect to be right around 100 miles per hour as it makes landfall. Those winds slowly decrease, though, of course, as we head through Friday morning. As it impacts the land, it really slows that storm down. But the rain then continues to dump across pretty much the border between North and South Carolina, and then that stretches kind of into the Appalachians and then into our area. And that's when we're going to begin to feel the effects, obviously, as we head to the beginning of the work week and into the middle of next week. I just got a report from the National Weather Service that tornado warning for East Central Prince Edward, Nottoway County, and Western Amelia counties is going to be allowed to expire in the next 5 minutes. Again, that's the one to the north that we're talking about. The one that we're a little bit more concerned potentially with is that southern one that was just issued for Lunenburg and Nottoway counties that stays in effect until 3 o'clock this evening. The very tail end of that storm where we're looking at right there, there's a little bit of a kind of a hook there, and that's where we, could see a better amount of rotation. So this is becoming an issue potentially. So if you're in the Union Church area, I know that's still about 15 minutes away, but you'll note the cones. That's a 5-minute span each of those sections. So if you know you live in this area here, you need to be in your safe spot at the moment. You need to go there immediately. If you're kind of in that secondary cone, you got a few minutes, but it doesn't mean that you want to be messing around. Of course, 15 minutes and then upwards of 20 minutes or so, you see that moves into the crew area, which could then become an issue in the next half hour. It looks like they have just re-updated. They've actually taken off the bottom half of that storm. So the threat has left, of course, the southern portions of, I believe, Lunenburg County, now mainly in effect for Nottoway County. Is that correct, Matt?
Yeah, they removed Lunenburg County, but it's still for Nottoway County, as you just said there.
So Nottoway County still in effect of an issue with potential tornado in effect. We're going to slide in and show you guys. We're talking that rotation there. Yeah, that's upwards, it says now 6 miles per hour. I think that's going to be wrong, so I'll get the most latest information. And we are looking at... If I can, I'm sorry there, we're going to draw the right information. Yeah, 26 miles per hour, so that's getting a little bit weaker. It was upwards about 40 miles per hour a few seconds ago, and then the latest scan showing you, we're looking for the bright greens and the bright reds. That really shows potential kind of circulation on the Doppler radar. That's what the National Weather Service is seeing, and that's why, of course, they then issue these warnings. So then you note that the bright reds of the latest scan, the brightest greens kind of diminishing a little bit. It doesn't mean that the threat is gone, ladies and gentlemen. We still have that tornado warning in effect until 3 o'clock this afternoon. The counties to the north, including Amelia and Prince Edward and Nottoway counties, that is going to expire in the next 3 minutes or so. The one that we're kind of concerned about, this tail end of that storm there, that expires at 3 o'clock this afternoon, now mainly in effect for Nottoway County. And again, we'll draw that cone on there. That storm is moving at 20 miles per hour. So this one moving a little bit slower than the rest of them, moving to the northeast right around 20 miles per hour. So again, we've mentioned that this is more the rural areas, but crew, you're kind of in the firing line there in the next 15 minutes or so as the latest updates continue to come into us here in the Weather Center. Of course, we're going to keep you guys updated. So obviously, as Matt mentioned, Cosby High School, you have already need to be in that spot, of course, keep the kids inside the school. As he said, I think they let the kids go just in the last 5 to 10 minutes or so. We need to obviously stay there. If you're in Hampton Park, you need to be inside right now. All those side roads and everything. And Magnolia Green, similar story. And as it kind of stretches up along Hull Street, we're going to continue to kind of see that threat moving into the area. Woolridge Elementary School, you're still a couple minutes away, but you obviously still need to stay safe. At the YMCA there, obviously, that could be becoming an issue. If there are kids hanging out through the afternoon, they're working out, you see us on the TVs, you want to avoid the areas with those big windows. You want to head into the locker rooms. That's probably the safest spot for you to be there. Similar conditions at Cosby High School. I know that these schools practice these tornado drills all through the spring to make sure they know what to do, and of course to make sure you stay safe. Again, that's right along Woolridge Road there. You see that moving in. This is about to potentially cross across Hull Street there. We see that right around 360, and it's where we're seeing those bright pinks you kind of see. It's also the bright greens kind of sitting to the south. Now this storm kind of continues to kind of move up into the Wood Lake area, and there are a lot of homes in that area. So if again, there's a lot of trees out there too. So you want to make sure you're in your lowest level. You want to make sure that you are in your, the most interior room that you can see. And obviously Matt told you if you have to be in a room that's, on the northeasterly side of your house, and there are some windows, grab a blanket, kind of keep yourself nice and safe. So in the next 2 seconds or so, Swift Creek, that family YMCA there, you're going to be dealing with that. Cosby High School is just around the corner, and then Millwood School also is going to be an issue. Woolridge Elementary, that is just down the road. So again, Matt's been talking about it all day. We're going to have the kids, they're going to stay in those schools. We want to make sure they do stay safe. So if your kid doesn't come home on time, it's because we've had this tornado warning in effect in Chesterfield County. That lasts until, I believe, 3:30, if I'm not mistaken. That can winds upwards of 100 miles per hour, even lower than that, still going to cause damage. And we also made the point where, we've had soaking rains over the last couple of days with Florence kind of moving in and through our area. So, of course, that's going to help knock trees over. And then if you really get that severe wind right along that, the trees, as we just saw in some of that video that we do have, where Sierra Fox was hanging out, you just see it just ripped. Those trees just snapped right off the top. And those trees are huge. These are big trees. So, again, that just gives you an idea of how strong the winds are with these storms as they continue to slide through. So, again, you may see, some damage here. It may kind of hop along, but it doesn't mean that that threat is not across the area. And that's why we've stuck with you guys over the last couple hours to kind of make sure you stay safe. The daughter said, as soon as we got that alert on our phones, we immediately went to the bathroom. That's a safe spot. They seemed like they've practiced this before. Good. It seemed like they had an idea of what to do when the tornadoes came. Oddly, I'd say, they're on the calmer side because they knew what they needed to do. Yep. They knew what was going to happen. And as the mother said, a very key thing, cars are replaceable, trees are replaceable, people are not. And the important thing is, did they see it? No, they didn't see it because they were in the bathroom. They did exactly what they needed to do. They stayed safe inside their home. And that's why we give you guys this information as these storms do push through. We tell you, you got to head inside. You got to head to a safe place. You got to head to where you've prepared to talk about, it's whether it's winter weather, whether it's hurricanes, or whether it's severe weather with tornadoes. You got to have a plan in action. You got to have it ready to go. Practice it a couple times a year. And it seems like that family kind of knew exactly what they were doing.